Welcome to episode 326 of the Whatnauts review show, where every episode we pick a story and we talk about it. This could be a movie, TV show, comic book, all kinds of entertainment. We watch it, read it, or listen to it, come back here and have a discussion. My name is Melissa Wilkinson, and I am joined, as always, by Kyle Springer.
I do not have a career in golf. I'll start out by saying that.
I never presumed you did.
Well, how dare you? I went to Top Golf for the first time this past week. I took a quick business trip back to the East Coast. My job was giving us like a work party thing. We have some big stuff coming up. And so they gave us a lunch party one day. And then the next morning took us all to Top Golf and was like, here's all this food. Enjoy Top Golf all you want for the next 3 hours. I am so bad.
Me too. I wanted to be good. This is what my office did as our beginning of the year kickoff. So we did it on January 2nd, which thankfully the weather was mild enough to be in the semi-outdoor enclosure of Top Golf. I kept trying to hit the ball and I'm like, these aren't practice rounds. I'm trying to hit it and I keep missing it. Not like hitting it wrong. I can't hit it. I have no hand-eye coordination. I have no spatial reasoning skills at all. Straight zero. And I Googled how to improve them. And it's like, well, have you suffered a stroke? Are you a young child? I'm like, no, I'm just an adult woman, a healthy adult woman who just can't hit things. What do I do about that?
You probably just need to keep at it. Is the only advice, but that, right, it's like it's Top Golf. It's golf in general. It's expensive, right? I was able to hit the ball mostly. I did whiff a number of times, but I had to use their sure shot one. Like, hey, you'll hit the ball most of the time.
The big one?
Yeah, the big one.
I couldn't even do that. I had the big one in my hand, and it took me 6 tries to make contact with ball.
Yeah. Despite knowing the motion in my head of which leg to turn and spin as it goes from one end of the swing to the other, I also used to be a dancer. I can learn choreography, but there's something about that I just couldn't do and get right. So no career in golf for me. But
which sucks because a lot of important business deals are done on the golf course. If you learn to golf, you could really go out there and do some reconnaissance.
If I was a big rich millionaire or something and I had a business deal to do, I would insist that we do it over putt-putt. Just go to some little putt-putt thing with a windmill, some multi-million dollar contract. I got it in the lake again. Oh, man.
That must happen. I would love an expose of what is the dumbest activity done while brokering the highest dollar deal.
Anyways, Melissa, how has your week been?
Good. Went on a house tour yesterday. St. Louis Homes Magazine hosts a tour of beautifully decorated local homes a couple times a year.
Yeah.
Went and did that.
Yeah, you've told me about a few of these in the past, that you get to go to these mansions and just get a tour of the house or the history of the house if there is some stuff there. So that's fun. Interesting. I feel like you'd be a good mansion tour guide person. You could be the one giving these tours.
That's my retirement plan, is just to become a docent of anything. I try and you came here and let me give you a tour of the city. I live that way every day.
You're right. Fantastic. Yeah. Good stuff. Melissa, what are we talking about this week on the podcast?
Today, we are talking about seasons 1 and 2 of the 2013 FX show, The Americans. We're going to talk about this entire series. Come back next time for season 3. We're doubling up this time on seasons 1 and 2 so that we could buy us a week in our schedule to have a Halloween episode later.
Yeah. Yeah. We are pretty much finishing out the year with The Americans. Except for that Halloween episode. And then I think we said at the end of the year, we do like a special, like, hey, it's our end of the year show kind of thing. And I'm kind of excited. Like we haven't done something like in this way before. We've done longer shows, but we've split them up. So it was like a once a month thing. That was back when we were weekly.
Right. Or it's a longer show, but we compress it enough that it's done in a month for us.
Yeah. So we've not done a thing where it's like, hey, the next 5 episodes are all about the same show. Here we go. Let's dig in. I'm excited. This is a show that we have talked about covering for a long time. And just because we weren't really sure how to fit it in or when to fit it in, it just kind of kept getting kicked down the road. And we were finally just like, I think it's time. I think right now is the best time for us to do that. And it worked out. So I'm excited to start talking about this show and diving in. Now, if I'm not mistaken, neither of us had seen any of this show, right? Yeah, we're brand new. This was a show that I had always heard, or like I missed the first 2 seasons and didn't really hear much. But by time like season 3 and beyond was here, everyone was like, "Oh my god, this show is incredible! You need to be watching the show." And at that point, I was like, "Well, I kind of missed the boat here, so I'll get to it eventually." But yeah, that's kind of my history with this of just always hearing good things.
Same. And this was top of our to-do list for years. It's something both of us have been interested in. And the thing that finally made me pull the trigger on doing it this year was that I realized, oh, wait a minute. The male lead in the show is sexy Perry Mason. We gotta watch this now.
I didn't know this show was based on a real person. Just kidding.
There's a lot of real world
inside joke.
There was a lot of real world details in the show. Existence of Perry Mason being a real historical man, not one of them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I did not really know anything about the plot, what actors were in this, really. Just always heard it's a great show. I finally posted on social media that I was like, hey, I'm just starting this show. And all the responses that I got was like, oh, incredible, great, slow burn of a show, one of the best. And then I brought it up to a friend of mine that I went to go see while I was on my work trip. And she was like, oh, my ex really liked that show. He was super obsessed. And I was never into it. I didn't watch it. But in the moments that I was watching it, it seemed so boring and so slow. But like,
I can see that.
But she was sitting there. He was on like the edge of his seat in those moments, being like, this is the most intense thing I've ever seen. So... Yeah, I am excited to get deeper into this show as it continues. But yeah, we watched the first 2 seasons. We're doubling up for this episode. But now that we've watched these first 2 seasons, Melissa, what are your thoughts so far?
I'm very impressed with this show. I think it's well paced. It takes its time. There's no duds of supporting characters or storylines. You're never like, oh, it's a Martha episode. It's like, you're excited to see Martha. You like all the parts of it. It's a very well-oiled machine.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I wish I liked it a little better than I did, but that is not to say that I'm not enjoying it. I am really, really liking this, but I went in expecting that slow burn, right? So I'm expecting to like, okay, as this continues to build on itself, as these first 2 seasons already have, like I'm expecting to get that much more invested in what is happening with these characters, these little short struggles that they keep running into that are just these what should be a minor inconvenience just completely ruins some big spy thing. So I'm enjoying it so far. I feel like it's in this weird in between where it at times really feels like a prestige television show and at times really feels like a cable TV drama.
I agree.
And yeah, it's in this like weird in between, but I kind of like it. It feels like this, and I don't mean this in a like reductive way. It feels like in a way that a B movie, like a lot of people can find great enjoyment out of that. The start of this show kind of feels like that, like a B tier television show, and I like it because of that.
Yeah, let's celebrate the B tier. Not everything can be Shogun in Game of Thrones.
Sure, and that's the thing. Like this started in 2013 and then went on for 6 seasons. So
yes.
I kind of assume that the look and style of this show will slightly change as it goes on.
I am curious. Yeah, the 2013. It's after Mad Men. It's I think Game of Thrones was out at this time. We are in a prestige TV era, but it's before streaming shows are really that big. There is still this presence of old school television. Like these are 13 episode seasons. They're not 26, but they're not 8 either. You're right. It is a middle ground. And it isn't quite as cinematic as we are used to TV being in the last handful of years here. You're right. It does look a little smaller and cheaper, not in a bad way, just in kind of a quaint way.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, this is a show from a different era, or with FX, because FX puts all of their shows on Hulu. They have some kind of deal there. But like, I think really before those like Hulu FX shows kind of took off, like there have been like Shogun is one you just mentioned, like incredible top tier show. That I think if you were to put those two side by side, there's one. It's like, okay, there's an obvious difference here in production stuff, but I'm okay with that. I like it. I like that it feels like it's in this transition period. It's also a period piece, right? So I wonder if that almost has anything to do with the production of like, oh, it's taking place in the 80s ish. Maybe we like that's why they've added all that extra film grain, even though they probably shot it digitally and stuff like that, right? But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like some of the monotony of what is in this show. I think all of the storylines are good, like you said, but they are good in ways that's like, oh, I just don't like this character. I love to hate this character. And so I'm into that scene and I'm like, oh, now we're stuck with them. All right, here we go. But yeah, there's some really, really intense moments. There's one that stood out to me where a character is snooping around in someone else's garage. And like, you don't know, but the other character is also in the garage at the same time. And then you finally see them and they're like in the dark, in the shadows. They're like, did not get noticed. And it's just like, oh man, that was intense.
Yes.
Like, what is going on?
That's in the pilot. I will say we have yet to do a synopsis of the show, but
was
the
that in
pilot,
the pilot?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
I don't remember that scene being in the pilot, but early in season 1 for sure.
This show does have a stellar pilot. If you're curious about it, this is a first episode that really packs a punch.
Yeah, indeed. So I'm certainly enjoying it, and I think they are introducing more and more problems and more issues for these characters to navigate as the intensity of the spy craft that they are doing ramps up, and their kids are teenagers, and or one of them is right and is being a teenager, and that is just causing all kinds of issues and stuff like that.
But being a teenager in a way that is specific to this show and this setting, there's no generic conflicts on this show. Nothing is cookie cutter. Nothing is off the shelf. Everything feels like it is truly in and of this specific world.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to do a quick plot synopsis of what this show actually is? Yeah.
The Americans is about two secret undercover KGB agents who were given these American cover identities. You are Philip and Elizabeth Jennings. You are a married couple. You will go to America. You will live as a married couple. You will have children. You will live in the suburbs. You will have jobs. You will fully live the American life as these secret spies trying to put cracks in America from the inside. So when the show starts, these Philip and Elizabeth have been together for 20 years, and it has always been a cover marriage. But as they have lived this way, had children, been together for this long, we start the show when they think, wait a minute, maybe we could fall in love with each other.
They're at a place where they are in love, but there was that like, oh, we didn't fall in love together, like in that romantic
we just had to
sense,
be,
but maybe we could,
we had to be partners. We had to have this very intimate relationship, but it was assigned to us.
Yeah.
And the show is following them choosing each other in a way that they haven't before. They've got two kids, I think about 11 and 14, and they have a new neighbor who moves into their neighborhood who is an FBI agent on the criminal intelligence seeking out KGB spies.
Right, yeah.
He is right next door to the enemy, and does he have any idea is the question of the show.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I mean, I don't know where this show will go by the end of it. But it really does feel like, even in the first season or so, feel like, oh, this is maybe going to be a show about who switches sides and when. And will the KGB spies, the quote unquote Americans, right, actually turn into American? Will they want to defect? Will they want to just kind of, or maybe they don't even defect per se, but just kind of abandon their mission for the stuff that they find that they like in America? Or will Agent Beeman, who moves in next door, will he slowly get turned to a KGB spy? Or something like that. It really feels like there is a number of ways that could go, or a number of characters who could take a step in that direction first. Yeah. That would be both like, okay, that makes sense, or also like, oh, that's a surprise. I wasn't expecting you to, take a step. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm enjoying it so far. But a little bit on the slower side.
It does. It does take its time. After I watched that pilot, I thought, how are there 6 more seasons of this? Like, it's a good show. I can tell it's a good show, but so much happened in the pilot. I'm like, is this thing going to take like really wild swings the later it goes on? And maybe it does, but things are getting revealed and set up slower than you thought. They really give you time to like live in something. And like 2 characters will link up, and it'll take a few episodes for like a certain dynamic to develop. And then you're in that for a while. It holds its cards close to the chest. Yeah. It is a period drama. It's set in the early 80s. The height, I don't know when you could say the height of the Cold War was. Any time from the 50s to the 80s, I suppose. I'm not a historian. I don't have any charts. But this is a time when it was prevalent in the minds of many American citizens. But I feel like we didn't have much Cold War after this, so there is sort of
it's kind of on the tail
ticking
end of
clock.
the Cold War.
Yes.
But that's the thing about the Cold War is like it was kind of
It's cold.
a standstill, right? So no one really knows, like, okay, did it end? Like, what's happening here, right? Like that's kind of the feeling of what exactly is happening here politically behind the scenes and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know if there's going to be small time jumps in between some of these seasons at all. I don't think there's going to be like a big major one, but you know, it could be like, okay, this season takes place like 2 years later, or something like that, especially as their kids age up a little bit.
The sense of time is a little loose. There are some real historical events that they put our characters in the background of, on the sidelines of. So there are the occasional historical markers, but there's not a chyron on the bottom of the screen reminding you it is May 1983. There's no holidays celebrated. Weather happens. You see snow and then there's not snow.
Because I could see them getting up to the fall of the Soviet Union and stuff like that. That I think would make a lot of sense for a natural conclusion to the show or something like that. And if you write 6 seasons down the road, like that's not, you're talking about like that's just a 10-year time difference ish from
this is all stuff I know I learned in high school history class, but I don't really remember anymore, because you learn it in high school history class and then you don't need to reference that information that much more in your adult life.
Right. I'm like, I think
but
it's
now
like late
I do.
80s, early 90s, something like that. I don't know.
I need to look up some documentaries. Got to hit the History Channel. Make sure I remember all of these milestones in the amount of detail I'm going to need to fully appreciate the Americans.
God, yeah. And also just a interesting time politically now to watch this show. I think that at least for me and my enjoyment of the show is adding on a new layer to the show, and just kind of saying how much about the political landscape has changed and stuff like that. So that's been fun. It's been good. Any other kind of non-spoilery things you want to say about the Americans?
We've done a lot of lead up. Let's head into our spoilers.
Cool. Yeah, let's do some housekeeping real quick, and then we will dive into spoilers just after that. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. We hope you're enjoying it. If you didn't know, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and a lot of hard work goes into making them, so we would love it if you check them all out. But none of this is possible without your support. Head over to patreon.com/thewhatnauts and you can get access to over 40 hours of exclusive content, including our Patreon first podcast, The Pilots Club, when you sign up at our $3 tier. Of course, there is a free version of the Pilots Club available, but episodes are exclusive to our Patreon for 2 years before they hit the free feeds. If you're interested in buying merch, we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more for sale over at thewhatnauts.com/store. Another great way to help us out is by subscribing and leaving a nice rating and review on your podcasting app of choice. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for video versions of the show, trailer reactions, and live streams. And lastly, you can always find out more information about the shows we make on our website, thewhatnauts.com. All right, we are back. Once again, a big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over on the Pilots Club, we released our episode on numbers. What if detective, but really good at numbers? The year of the detective is rolling on. That was a great pick for us to check out. It was interesting to go back and see, or just get a good vibe, a good feeling of like, okay, how accurate accurate is the math in
we don't know.
We don't know, but it's like hand wavy 21 gigawatt something, right? Like that all makes sense. Just like you can have sci-fi
we're watching
mumbo-jumbo.
things that really test our memory of high school classes, history, math. Let's do a captain's log where we find school quizzes and take them and see how smart we still are.
No, I was an art kid. All right, when I was done taking the required amount of stuff that I needed to take, I was like, "Get me out! I'm done. I'm not taking an extra."
I'll never think about this again.
God, my senior year in high school was like one or two actual like classes, and then the rest was like AP art and AP sculpture and AP something other art. So it's just like I do art all day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we released our episode on numbers. Go check that out. And the free version of the Pilots Club, we put out our episode on winning time, the rise of the Lakers dynasty. So go check that one out as well. Right here over on the review show, last time we covered a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, The Master. In anticipation for his new film, One Battle After Another, or the next?
Yes.
Another.
One battle after another.
I always mix that up in my head. But yeah, you had seen a couple of his films. I was not as familiar. So you pitched this one as like, this is probably a good starting point in terms of like, it has a little bit of everything from all of his films. Good comedy, good drama, good cinematography, right? All of that stuff.
Right. Buffoonery, all the things he's good at.
Exactly. Yeah. So we had a blast with that one. Go check it out. And then over on the Captain's Log, we had a fantasy draft. Jacqueline got to join us for that. And we picked director-actor combos. Directors that had worked with actors, or is that the right one? Or actors that had worked with directors? I guess directors that had worked with actors multiple times, right?
You could pick any, and typically it's the director picking the actor. It doesn't go the other way around quite as often, but we have an example of that as well.
Yeah, indeed. So we had a great time with that one. Played a fun game. Go check it out over on the Captain's Log. But that's about it for housekeeping for right now. So let's get back to the Americans. Let's get into some spoilers. All right. Where do we want to start? You
that scene in the
no,
that's for later. That cannot be a priority in this discussion. Come back to me in an hour. That scene in the pilot where Stan sneaks into the Jennings garage, checks the car for any evidence, can't find it, and is like, I guess my hunch is wrong, and then leaves. And then you see Philip has been waiting there in the shadows with a gun silently the whole time, just in case Stan pulled something.
Yeah.
That's so hot. My bra unhooked itself.
Right?
Amazing. Like that alone, like if you weren't hooked, then they've got you.
Right. Yeah.
They rarely, not that they haven't had great reveals and twists, but that is such a highlight. You're right.
It was an incredible scene because yeah, I mean, they have a good cover as this American family, and they've been there so long. They've been there for 20 years, right? That like it really makes sense, but their make and model of the car matches something that Agent Beeman is looking for. And I don't know, he just gets a weird vibe from the family. And so he does some snooping like that next night. And yeah, whereas like hours before they had someone trapped in the trunk of that same car in that same garage, right? He's snooping around, just trying to find something, anything. Like he's not really sure. He's just kind of like, I'm just gonna go on my gut here. And Yeah, like he sneaks in, he takes the time to go at night and pick the lock and like lift it up real slowly. Like it's a long scene. It's not like a short like all right, it's done. He
Tense.
sneaks under. Yeah, he closes it real silently. He's looking around, and this whole time you don't know anyone else is in there with him.
Yes,
It's only
yes.
like as he's leaving does the camera like pan in a certain way where you can see like in shadow is what's his name just standing there being like, right, just breathing silently with his
I was
gun.
ready to murder
Right.
this man.
Right, yeah, like, oh, incredible stuff. So yeah, that I think immediately is just a highlight of what we have watched so far. Great stuff. Did you have any other kind of moments like that? Because there certainly is action in this show, but like we've said, it's a slower show. Was there any other kind of bigger moments like that from these first 2 seasons that stood out to you?
There's a cool chase scene in the pilot. It's I think right at the beginning of the pilot, there's a long sort of stakeout chase scene where they're playing Fleetwood Mac's Tusk in the background, which is a song with a long instrumental lead up. And they sort of remix it and stretch it and like cut it up so that like this 2-minute lead up covers like 5 minutes of show. And then finally when the action kicks in is when the vocals of the song kick in. And then you've got an action montage set to that song.
Yeah. Very
well done.
And
then they do it again with In the Air Tonight.
The camera pans and all of a sudden you see Kevin Smith and he's like, Tusk, yes. Right. And that's how the
Walrus, yes.
Yeah, Walrus, yes. No. Yeah, it's because that's when they are after the widow of the guy that died in the pilot, right? Is that it?
That's like the next episode or two. I forget.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now, I've got all like the character stuff mapped. I get like 86% of any actual political plot stuff. I always feel like I don't quite have all of it in hand.
Yeah. So in the pilot, right at the start, yeah, there's that big chase, and another Russian agent gets killed, or he gets stabbed, he gets mortally wounded. He gets himself to a hospital and enters himself in as a John Doe, but dies in the hospital. The FBI kind of figures out that he's a spy, and then it kind of comes out that, oh, he had a wife. He had someone, and this was not a wife that the KGB knew about, all of this stuff. So there's this big like question of what did he tell her? How much does she know? And so both sides are after the spouse, just to be like, what is happening here?
But that's episode 3. The show will frequently have a conflict in one episode, and then it'll be a few episodes later that there's a repercussion of that conflict. That there's some missing thread that has to be snipped off.
Yeah. And I think for me it was like the scene where they're staking out the spouse, and like everyone is there. There's a bunch of FBI people all around. There's the Russian spies. There's even the like I don't know if it's accurate to say like ex-Black Panther people there. That are helping the Russians that make it all possible. Man, just so stinking cool, though, that scene where they're staking her out and then she gets up when no one shows and is walking away, and that's when everything is happening. And like that was a scene I was like, this is cool. I like this stuff. Just this like intelligence, counterintelligence, counterintelligence, right?
Yep.
All of that stuff is fantastic. On the flip side of all of that, how about the disguises?
This show is all wigs. There's a new wig every episode. There's a few returning wigs. There's a few personas they have that do repeat. But oh my God, it's wig crazy. And like the wigs, like they don't have to be good. It's because they're like, they know you, like you, the audience need to know that's still Kerry Russell, that's still Matthew Rhys, but it's a Clark Kent thing where it's like they have to look just different enough that nobody really realizes.
Or have a bad enough wig that everyone only focuses on the wig, right? And doesn't recognize their actual features.
I wish we got to see more of the costuming and where they keep all of that stuff. Where are these wigs?
Right, yeah.
Have you ever seen The Prestige?
Yes, a long time ago, yeah.
You remember in The Prestige where there's just the pile of hats in the woods? Is there just going to be a pile of wigs?
Something. They have their own little like V for Vendetta shadow gallery underneath, the house or something.
Where are the wigs?
Yeah.
Where is your makeup table? Where's your vanity, your costume room? Where's your go bag of wigs? In the first episode, they have that mission they go on overnight, which is the Tusk one. And then they get banged up and it's the next morning. It's like 6 a.m. They're like, the kids are about to get up. They think we've just been in bed asleep all night. And they're like putting makeup on each other to like touch up like bruises and scratches. I wish they did a lot more of that. That does not repeat as often as I would like. I'm interested in the little logistical subterfuge details of just hiding what it is you've been doing and masking your identity.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to want to explore, especially as their teenage daughter is starting to not only come into her own and want to be her own adult, but is also starting to realize that like she's at the age where it's like, oh, my parents have flaws too. Like they're keeping secrets. They're right. Like some of this stuff is suspicious. I think it'd be really, really interesting because the show up until now, at least, right, is like, oh, we got a new mission. And then it's like smash cut to they're already in the wig and the stuff. And we don't know, is that 30 minutes later? Is that 2 hours later? Is that the next day?
Right.
Like,
and
what exactly is happening?
Are you creating these from scratch, or do you have a file cabinet full of ready to go identities with like wigs and costume plates? Do you pull out a Ziploc bag full of glasses and watches and fake scars and fake beards?
How much do their like D&D characters match the personas that they have?
Yeah. Or is it like, what do I feel like wearing today? And there's a makeover montage.
Makeover. Yeah. I would like to know more about that stuff because that feels like it would require a lot of space to house the wigs if they keep them on those little like mannequin heads or something smaller.
Where are they?
In hat boxes, right? But even then, those hat boxes are always so big, right? And
I would love if the wigs were in the house. What would Paige think if she like is digging in a closet for something like, oh, I have to find an old baby picture of me to take in for school, for a school project, for genealogy, and she finds just a bunch of wigs. What is she going to think that means? What conclusion do you draw from a bunch of wigs?
Yeah, I could see them being like, oh, your grandma cancer or something, right? Like, but also, do they... Yeah, that's hard, right? But like that's the kind of stuff I want. I want her stumbling into this stuff and not really understanding it, and them having to either backpedal or who knows what.
She can tell something is going on. Why would she have any idea that they're spies? That she just thinks, I think they're having an affair. At least one of them, if not both of them, are having affairs. Because you're a 14-year-old girl. That's all that you can think of is happening. You're never like, I bet my parents are secretly KGB spies. Here's what evidence is she going to stumble across that leads her down that path? Or with the way season 2 ends, is that something they're going to have to confess to her that's going to completely blindside her.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna dive in more to the stuff with their daughter. Right, when she is expressing to other people, like, I don't, like, my parents are keeping secrets. I don't necessarily trust them like I used to. Something weird is up. All the responses are like, my parents are the exact same way. Like, you're right. There's this both camaraderie from someone else her age, right, when she hears that, but when that youth pastor says it almost feels slimy in the way that, like, I know he's not going in with bad intentions, but it feels like he's talking down to her, like, parents have a real tough time raising teenagers, like, which is almost like maybe the problem is you, but he's not saying the problem is you, right? But it's like there's just this weird thing of like, they're not connecting in the same way that you connected with this same with the kid your age today.
This is a period in history where there were more working mothers. Like, the family unit was not what it had once been. Divorces, separations, things like that were more common. There was perhaps more career stress on a family. So something genuinely unusual and deceitful is going on in her family. And when she tries to express it to somebody else, they're like, yeah, my parents also fight and my mom works all the time. They think it's just something distressing, but run-of-the-mill distressing, just problem of the modern times distressing.
And then, like, they've mentioned it a couple times, just like underhandedly, but I feel like this could potentially be something down the road that comes up. The parents seem to have very strict rules in the house of, like, hey, if it's after 9 o'clock, you don't leave your bedroom or something like that.
Don't knock on our door. Don't open our door.
Right.
Like,
which is then
don't come crying to mom and
confuses her. Like, maybe they're having an affair with their, like, she catches them 69ing each other. Like, like, what is going on? Just like, I don't know if they were having an affair, would they really be doing that? But also, what did I just see? That's gonna scar me for life, right? Like, we'll get to how much sex there is in this show, because that was also something I noticed. But like, I think they're now also with what happened with this other family in season 2, where the parents and the daughter all get killed, and then by the end of that season, we find out that it was the son that killed them all.
That was a big surprise.
Great twist. That felt like a wake-up call for them as parents to be like, our daughter is at the age where she can be recruited if she isn't being recruited already. She might not know it, right? It might be the youth pastor. Who knows, right? And they kind of want to nip that in the bud, but they're not sure how or what is the best way. Like, in an odd way, the show is about parenting, at least these first two seasons, right?
And there's this struggle they have, especially with raising their children in the 80s, a time known to have a rise in materialism. There was even that famous song about it that Madonna sang. They want their kids in their family unit to fit in, but they're hesitant about buying in too much. Like, these kids need to look like any average American kids. We have to really fly under the radar, but we can't, like, philosophically buy into this too much. Like, their kids Henry's begging for an Intellivision. They're like, you're not getting an Intellivision. We're not getting the new car. We don't want to raise you to be so obsessed with that stuff. But you got to have some normal, like, 80s kid thing. So he still has, like, the Star Wars sheets, and you can have a telescope. And I like that there's these subtle things that are not inherently Russian, but that the Russian culture
it's like, here, learn
is
more
fond
science
of
instead of...
Right. The kids... they play hockey. He gets a telescope. They play chess. Things like that.
Yeah.
I think the kids are one of the greatest strengths of the show, Because if you don't care about those kids, a lot of it falls apart. And if the kids go too far, if they're too precocious, too cheesy, too angsty, too moody, I think Paige and Henry are very well toned. I am impressed by how they're written and the performances of those young actors.
To be clear, the daughter was the character that was like, I love to hate her. That's not to say she's a bad character.
Love to hate is a strong reaction.
And that's not to say she's a bad character or she's written poorly or like that's not the case at all. She's so whiny to me. And I mean, the parents genuinely are rubbing up against like the time of like, right, we don't want you to buy into this American way of thinking, to even religion that we don't follow, but yet they haven't decided on telling their daughter what they believe in and stuff like that, and why we want you to believe in that. Or is that even the right decision? Is there some way that we can get you to come to that conclusion on your own or something, right? Those struggles are a really fascinating mix in with the spy stuff, because like I said, sometimes it's just a really mundane problem that just gets in the way. She wants to go to summer camp. Okay, maybe she got involved with a youth group, right? Like it's just kind of normal mundane stuff, but like also it's just causing problems for the parents left and right. And now they're having to juggle like, oh, well, our kid got detention, so I need to go over there and pick them up, but I'm supposed to meet with our handler over here and then do this, and then I need to go talk to my second wife over there. Like, it's so much stuff. So it's causing problems, and I really, really like that. But the actress that plays their daughter, I think her name is Holly something. I don't remember off the top of my head. Thank you. Yes. She's acting it so well that I just don't like her. I don't like that character.
I like Paige. I think Paige is very principled. She seems relatively like level-headed, practical. What they say about her is like she can argue anyone in circles. Like she's knows how to defend her position. She's stubborn, but she's a sweet girl. She takes care of her brother. Like she's not. And the thing she's angsty about are like issues of identity. Like I said, there's nothing cookie cutter about this show. They wouldn't dust some teenage girl premise off the shelf like, likes two different boys at school. They're like, what is this girl in this family
what is
unit
American,
feeling?
What is Russian?
What would she be feeling? And it is that for, I imagine, so much of their childhood, like Philip and Elizabeth could steer Paige and Henry into the appearance of a normal American youth. Like they have to not raise any suspicion. And she's reaching this age where perhaps her parents aren't around as often. But there's not another thing they've given her that she can really feel attached to. Like she was in volleyball and it seemed like they enrolled her in volleyball, like normal American kid activity. No particular feelings about it, volleyball. She's like, I was never that into volleyball. Like what really calls to me? And she finds herself in this youth group just because she's like, I need somebody to talk to about my parents. I'm so stressed out about our home situation. She meets that girl on the bus. So you wonder, is this a plant? Is this, or is this like somebody from the KGB sent to like watch over the Jennings children? And then so far, at least, it seems like that was just another teenage girl with troubled feelings about her own home life. These two found each other, connected, and she's like, it's a real relief to me to talk to my youth group. That might help you as well. Yeah. And she's like, I love having a place where I can go and talk to people, where I can relate to people. And then we have this larger sense of purpose. She says, I want to be a better person. I want to do things for the world. Like she's got the right principles. She's got the right core. but she doesn't have the specific thing to apply it to yet. And that's the conflict Philip and Elizabeth are coming up against. Like, we have the thing we would like her to do. When is it time, and is it ever time to introduce that to her? Like, our lives are hard.
Thing.
Yes, we are murderers. We are not sure. There's even the issue of where they seem to feel like we don't have souls anymore. We are beyond saving. We are necessary people, but we are not good people. Do we want to condemn Paige to this? What is the right thing for her to be doing? They have that conflict between each other. And then, that's only one kid down.
Right, yeah.
There's the issue of, let's say they do let Paige in on this. Let's say they do get Paige to be an agent in training. Then they're leaving Henry out in the cold. What's he going to do when he grows up a little bit? Yeah. And he's like, now my sister is also keeping secrets from me. What's wrong?
Yeah. So yeah, they got tons of stuff to deal with there. Did you kind of circle back around to how much sex there is in this show, or do you kind of may I want to something else?
Oh, let me finish talking about the kids a little bit more before we talk about the sex. The reverse chronological order of the natural life cycle.
Yeah. The chicken or the egg, right? The classic. Right?
I like the kids a lot. I wish they had a little more interaction with each other. We'll get like a Paige thing or a Henry thing. And except for that one episode where Philip and Elizabeth are both kidnapped, and nobody's there to pick the kids up from the mall, and they have to walk home from the mall, and they accept a ride, and they're like, should we be with this guy? And they have to like hit him over the head with a beer bottle and run away. That's a great interaction between those two kids as a unit, them against the world. I wish we got a little bit more between the two of them. The little mini arc where they are not buying Henry the Intellivision he wants. They get him the telescope. He's looking around at the neighbors with his telescope. He's doing a rear window, and he realizes one of the neighbors. Yes, he got an Intellivision. That family's going on vacation. I've seen where they store the spare key. I can go on. All he wants to do is just sneak in, play the Intellivision. He's like, and when they catch him in this, he's like, I didn't steal anything. I know stealing is wrong. You know I know stealing is wrong. I didn't hurt anybody. I would never hurt anybody. And he has this breakdown like, I don't want my parents and my neighbors to look at me like I'm a criminal. I'm not a criminal. All I wanted was this one small thing. And he's like, I'm good, right? I'm good. I think I know I'm good. Don't you think I'm good? Aren't I a good person? And like Philip and Elizabeth just don't know what to say at all. So it's just this young actor who's like mostly given like slightly more comedic, lighter bits on the fringes of the story, and Paige gets more of the drama. He gets one like incredible monologue.
And what's interesting about that whole scenario is that Paige, their daughter, is the one that is lying and starting to keep her own secrets and starting to hurt people in like not necessarily intentionally, but like is like as a result of her actions, right? And then right, the question is like, she's at the age, do we tell her what we really do? How do we deal with that? But she's also not good at lying. Like it's always very obvious when she is, or at least like she's just not adept at that kind of stuff. Whereas their son has been doing reconnaissance, broke in, and right, like all of this stuff, and he's just like, I just want to be a good person, I swear, right? He's just like, don't think of me as a criminal. And they're sitting there like, they never expressed it, but I the thought in my mind was like, oh, he's showing like an adeptness for espionage.
Both of them are. Which is so funny, like, even though they don't know or have any suspicion that their parents are spies, the kids have picked up spycraft. They know how to get information that they want that nobody is telling them. They know how to get into a place. They know how to sneak away. They're doing spy tactics on just normal teenage young adult things.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. I think the one missed opportunity is that after that incident with Henry sneaking in to play the Intellivision, and he's like, I'm a good person, aren't I? I didn't do anything wrong, right? That Paige is on a parallel journey of, I want to be a better person. I'm going to this youth group. The fact that there's no connection between the two of them at that point, that he doesn't go to her, because we know exactly what Philip and Elizabeth think about what Paige is doing. What is Henry really thinking? Does she want to bring him with her? That's one part that I'm missing. And I wonder if maybe season 3 will have a little more of that.
Yeah. A lot more sex in this show than I was expecting.
Yes.
Lots of butt, some good side boob in this. But yeah, just in general, a lot more sex and like show it. They don't show the sex, right? But it's still like
it's FX. It is an HBO. Yeah,
right. It's in there in a way that I was like, oh, this is more than I was expecting them to show. And it's happening a lot. And it was just something I noticed of like, oh, all right, I guess.
It is a steamy show, and I like that it's both plot relevant, like, oh, I must do some the undercover.
I have a second wife that I'm trying to seduce.
I am having sex for spy reasons, and I am having sex just because I think I actually love my wife now.
Yeah. That was just that's really the only thing that I have to say on that. And nothing more. Was just like, whoa, okay, steamy, a little saucy here. What's happening?
I did remark to myself at one point that the lace bra budget for this show must be out of control.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think about the second wife plot line? What do you think about Martha?
I don't know. She is the closest thing we have to like a kooky office lady in the show. I don't think she's full on kooky though.
No,
but she really is that like 80s business woman. Kind of older, not older, but like middle-aged, still single, right? Like she fits that like those kind of tropes really, really well. And in that sense, yes, I like her as a character. I don't hate her as much as I hate the kid, right? But like, she's not my favorite. And it feels like it's such a fragile thing, and something that like if it hasn't already run its course, it's about to end abruptly and something will go wrong, right? At least that's what I think, right? Like she's kind of like, unbeknownst to her, she's kind of trapped herself in this position because of undercover what's his name,
Clark.
Clark saying his job is one thing when they can't know that I'm married, and this thing, like I need to establish, like, you know, if they put down that I'm married, then they'll look into you, and you don't want that, right? There's all these like rules and regulations, and she's just kind of trapped herself as a result of that, and I think she's wanting more.
Yes.
And it also seems like he doesn't visit her that often. He's there maybe like 2 nights a week, even though they're quote unquote married, right? But then I don't know, like it at times feels like he's really trying to do something to get her to make the first move, to be like, and you're done, like get out. And she's not taking the bait on any of those things, which is just like, all right, like how long will this get dragged out?
I like Martha. I relate to Martha. I fear I could turn into Martha.
Why'd you say that name?
Right. And it's funny that it's Martha and Clark. A couple years before the names Martha and Clark in that dynamic have taken on quite a different meaning. Yeah, you could not write a couple named Martha and Clark today, post 2016 Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. As another you know, spinster. I'll say it as a spinster. I like to see another spinster on screen. I don't
Spinster
see myself
solidarity.
on screen
Hell yeah.
very often. I fear I could become a Martha, that somebody could get at me that way, where she's like, she is the secretary, personal assistant, office administrator to like the head of the Are There Spies Here division at the FBI. And so she has access to all this information. And I think Clark's cover story is that he works for like internal affairs, something like
or some
that.
kind of thing like it.
Yeah. Some sort of a government oversight division. And he starts interviewing her privately. Like, we just want to get, off the record, like your perspective on how things are going. Do you think your boss is he trustworthy? Is he reliable? Is he running the department well? And then those two fall in love and they get married. But he's like, you can't tell anybody about me. If they found out that I married somebody who's part of my investigation, like, we're both in big trouble.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm so busy with my work, and my work is so important. That's why I'm only here like 2 nights a week. And
I'm a career man.
Because she's never had a love like this before. She's never felt important or loved or special. She agrees and she goes along with it. Like, okay, I have a secret husband who I only see a couple nights a week, and he doesn't really live here. Okay. And Martha, I think they do a good job of making it clear she is a smart woman. She's very canny. She's very observant. Her brain sees everything, but Clark has her heart, and that is what is clouding her judgment. She's not stupid. She just chooses love when she has a choice to make. And she loves Clark, and so far she's sticking with Clark. But you're right. There is a question, I think, from early on. Sometimes I'm even surprised that Martha is still a part of this. And I finished season 2, and I just went through like on Hulu on Disney Plus, the little 1-sentence episode description for all of season 3. I'm like, Martha's still here. How long can Martha go on? How much can they get out of Martha? Both in terms of the show itself, where is the ultimate destination for the character arc of Martha, and Philip and Elizabeth's spycraft. Like,
right.
At what point has Martha served her purpose to the mission and is more trouble than she's worth? And then what are you going to do? I'm like, are they going to kill Martha? Is Clark going to break up with her? Is Clark going to ghost her? Is he just going to not go back?
There was a moment in season 2 where it seemed like that was going to be the case, right? Where he just
and
disappeared, and then she like investigates and find out that, like, he never existed, right? That was not a real person.
Which is heartbreaking. Like, you almost fear Martha finding that out as a worse fate for her than Martha being killed. But I wonder, like I said, she's smart. She's very dedicated. She feels her feelings very strongly. Like, is the ultimate villain of this piece Martha? If Martha finds this out, right. Is that what like the latter half of this series is? Dark Martha.
Yeah, like I feel like she, like, they're setting the bait to give her reason to break up with Clark. And you're right. She just keeps choosing love. And I think one thing that I've also found about the relationships in this show is that, especially, you guys know I'm terrible with names. You just said them. Philip and Elizabeth.
Yes.
That they are trying to kindle the flame of their own relationship and trying to make it not an assignment, right? But each of the relationships that they go off and have outside of their home, right, seems to have some aspect of things that they actually want, right?
Yes.
Whether it is like a better sex life, or to actually have the person's heart, or to have someone who genuinely cares about you and will do anything for you. I feel like there's the one where she gets the like scientist soldier dude, like the Navy guy, right?
Yes.
And she like convinces him to steal the documents, and then like immediately breaks up with him, and he's okay with it, right?
Right, because isn't that a guy who was gay, and that was what that was his pressure point. They're like, if somebody finds out that he's gay, they can use that to blackmail him. And if he is successfully blackmailed, he's going to give up information he really shouldn't give up. Which is why she approaches him from, like, they meet in a record store. He loves classical music. She wants to talk to him about music. Her character invents this backstory where she was assaulted by a naval officer, and so she really doesn't want to have sex, which is a way she can sort of get closer to this man who maybe wants to appear as though he wants to have sex with a woman, but actually doesn't.
I must have missed that detail.
Maybe I'm conflating a couple characters. I'm not sure.
I think they said Lyric was gay, but again, I don't remember which one Lyric was.
Why can't there be two gay guys? I thought they both were.
Lyric, the guy, and I've seen him in some other show recently. I don't know, but he was the one. I think he was a Russian spy, joined the American military, yes. And then he was the one that wants out, and he's the one that's like hunting him dead down. I think they said that he was gay. I think. He is.
We see him having sex with a guy outside a club. I might have just.
That's true.
Forgotten which guy they were talking about and thought like the guy who likes the classical music was also gay. I might have had a very different read on that.
That Navy guy, I feel like he's still kind of red-blooded American male, but has been witness to abuse and stuff like that. So he's a little bit more not sheltered, but like has withdrawn into himself. And so that's why in the more intimate moments, they're both kind of awkward and shy in that stuff. But I don't remember the exact details. But even with that, like he really, really cares about her and is drawn in by the sob story that she gives him. But like so quickly is like, I will do anything for you. I'll steal these documents. And I'm wondering if there is a bit of distrust between Elizabeth and what's his name again? I'm terrible with names. I make a horrible spy. Yeah, thank you. Of like, I don't know if I asked him to do something for me, if he would really do it.
And would I want him to do that?
Right. Yeah. Like, so yeah, there's this interesting, like, I think all the relationships they have some aspect of the relationship that they want.
There's so many shows that have a will they, won't they couple who then gets together and you lose some of the magic. Or it's in will they, won't they for such a long period of time that it kind of strains credulity. And that also kind of loses some magic. This premise of we have been married as a cover story for 20 years. We have an intimacy. We have had children, but we've never been in love before. Are we falling in love now? That's a great premise. That's very compelling. That gives you the best of both worlds. And there are things that are still a little inscrutable about Philip and Elizabeth. I think by definition, and I think they're both like really good performances of you're not being exactly sure, like, how much does Philip really relish in Clark and Martha's marriage? Does he like the feeling of going over there and being a loving married husband? Is that an outlet for something he's been looking for? Or is it like, it's so funny whenever he's talking with Elizabeth about spy stuff or family stuff. And he's like, well, I got to go see Martha tonight. I'll see you later.
Right. Yeah.
Just so matter of fact about it. Like, I got to take the trash out. I got to go to the store and pick up milk. I got to go be Mr. Martha for a night or two.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, and then on the flip side of that, his wife being curious of like, wait, but she said that you're an animal in bed. Like, I don't know you to be an animal in bed. Like,
Right, show me.
we got caught 69ing 2 weeks ago, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're an animal in bed, right? Like,
it's a very communist way to have sex, I think.
Everyone gets everything. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there, and so I think she's coming from a place of curiosity of like, can it, like, is this a way to rekindle our relationship?
Yeah.
If we spice up our sex life, will that be something that makes us fall more in love? And it turns into this really difficult emotional scene that I think is actually pretty telling about how much he does love her. When he's like, he starts to do this, but at the end, I almost feel like he was the one that was hurt the most out of all of that.
That is a fascinating, murky scene where he tries to give her what he thinks she wants. And it's like, did he go too far, or was she like, no, I want this? And then I actually did not want that. I was not prepared for how I would react to you giving me the thing I was asking for.
Yeah.
And then you see him he's wearing the Clark wig. She made him dress up as Clark. And you see him kind of tear it off in frustration in the mirror, which is another part of this I wish we had more of. And then that's a nice lead into the bit with Clark and Martha a few episodes later, where Martha's like, Clark, I love every part of you. I even love your toupee.
Yeah.
You thought I didn't notice. And then the look on his face when he's like, oh, you noticed. And like, this is like, I think he's been intending this to be like, this is my natural hair. Clark's natural hair. And when he realizes she knows, but she has invented her own cover for it, he's like,
or she recognizes it as a toupee and not a wig, right? So it's still like, I know something's up
right,
there.
But like that's you're not in disguise. That's you like presenting your physical self in a certain way for vanity or masculinity or whatever. Right. You can see him realize she may be smarter than I've been. I've been underestimating Martha. Yeah. And I'm underestimating her both mental capacity and also her emotional capacity. He's like, if she loves me that much, it's going to be that much worse when I have to get rid of her in whatever way I need to get rid of her.
Yeah. And I think in interesting, and who knows if this is the route that they will go, it could potentially also be interesting to see her get flipped and her become a Russian spy.
I really wonder.
Do with that of like, okay, now you are fully on board with the cause. We technically got married legally in America, but also I'm married to her. It was an assignment, but also like now I have a Betty and Veronica situation here, right? Like what's going on?
Yeah, you do wonder if maybe if Clark revealed that he is a spy and I'm a spy for the Russians, would Martha love him so much to be like, sure, I'll be a spy for the Russians too. She's totally okay with that, but then is it still, we have to keep the secret of me having another marriage?
Right, yeah.
What will be the final blow to Martha?
Yeah.
We haven't talked at all about the other half of the show, which is like Stan, his home life, about Nina. It's interesting to me that there's so much going on in the show that has ripple effects to other characters, but those characters have no idea those other characters even exist. Right. Like Nina knows in general the KGB has these undercover spies in America, but I don't think she knows the names Philip and Elizabeth Jennings. Those characters never cross paths, and Philip and Elizabeth have no idea Nina exists.
Yeah. And how close proximity they all are in relation to one another. And yeah, it like in the same way that I just mentioned, I think the relationships that they have all have some aspect of what they truly want. I'm wondering if it's almost because I was like, what if Agent Beeman gets flipped at some point? I'm sure he will. I'm just kind of expecting that at some point. But to see the relationship that he's in with Nina be this thing of like what if he's, I mean, she is the like younger, hotter model, right? And there is that like sexual attraction that I'm sure he has, but I'm wondering if now that he's like seen her on her knees, like nose bloodied at point by her own bosses, if there is aspects like of her character, of her integrity, of her loyalty that he is starting to admire more so and more so, and is like that's what I subscribe to as an American, but here's all the like horrible things that we're doing as an American, but you guys are the ones displaying that. And
we're on different sides, but I see the principles I admire in you. Can that be a lead to switching sides?
Right. Instead of it being like, I see an aspect of a relationship that I want, it's like, I see an aspect of a country that I would like to serve, or a higher power that I would like to serve, right? Some higher purpose.
I did appreciate that Beeman and Nina's relationship is not a romantic or sexual one at first. There is a arc of episodes where they are just sort of friends, and he's really like, he feels for this woman, he wants to take care of her. That they started that way before they were even hooking up. I like that the show took its time to get there. And then again, I like that the show took its time to get there with like Nina and Oleg also. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. He's also someone that I just feel like is slimy, and I don't like him.
Well, the point is that he's slimy. You gotta have a little slime in your show. What's a slimeless show even for?
And like one thing we also haven't seen, which I thought was interesting, in the midst of all these relationships and affairs, it's Agent Beeman's wife. That she's having an affair, and we don't really see it. That's not something.
Yeah, and you are curious. Is there some larger plot thing there? Is there like a completely parallel mission? Some unknown undercover KGB agent is running? Like, can I get in with the wife and mother of child with a FBI agent? Like, is she quietly, secretly being turned as well? Or is this a way to just, is the absence of whoever that man is who she's having an affair with a reflection of how little Stan has been paying attention?
Or how untrusting he is? Yeah.
What purpose does this serve ultimately? Is there more there? Or is the character journey we've seen all it was ever supposed to amount to?
Yeah, for sure.
We don't see their son Matthew as often as I would like. They're at the very beginning of like season 1, when like the Jennings and the Beemans are kind of getting to know each other. It seems like Paige may kind of have a crush on Matthew, but then he barely shows up, and it's not really anything.
That
and like her having a crush on him
crushed,
is
it's
not.
I was just gonna say this, when the other girl walks in that sings in the band that they're all in, and she's like
that's
into punk and stuff like that, and she's just like, oh, I'm like a bookish, mousy little girl. He would never go for me, and it's like, all right, I'm done.
That can be it. And like, that's not the most exciting storyline anyway, but I'm like, if Matthew is here, can Matthew serve a larger purpose? Can we do more with him? I think the show is like smart enough that it's not just gonna like write a character off like, and then Matthew goes to college. Bye. he's not here anymore. It is kind of sweet that even though Stan is so distant from his family, like the mother and son seem to be fairly close. There's a few sweet moments with him. It's like those two are good. Stan is the one completely on the cold, out in the cold on the outside.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think with the family dynamic, the show can also really pull from shows like the Sopranos, because Tony also had 2 kids, and since Tony's job is a little more out there, less undercover, right, than these spies, people knew that, like, Tony Soprano, like, you don't mess with him. He's not a good guy. He's a bad guy. And so, like, their kids would get bullied at school, be like, oh, your parents are bad. Like, your parents are evil, like all this stuff. And the kids didn't know exactly what their parents did. They just thought they were businessmen.
My father works in sanitation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. My father works as a travel salesman. And there's a lot of parallels there with, like, how to deal with that stuff, what kind of storylines they can do. And the Soprano kids grew up and also went to college and that caused its own problems, as now you really don't have your child under your roof and they are now acting out, or something else is happening and they are threatening your kid who is now however far away, and you have to drive all the way out there just to make something stop, right, or so on. So there could be some interesting stuff with all of that.
Yeah, I'm very curious about the Jennings' travel business. Like, it seems like it is a legitimate business. It is not a front.
What if Paige was like, "Hey, I need a part-time job.
Can I work for you at the office?" And then she goes to the office and she's like, "You keep disappearing from here too? When you're at home, you always say you have a work thing. Now I'm in the office and you're not here either. So where are you?" I do like when she calls them on, "Can't you do that work from home? Why do you have to go to the office at 10 p.m.? What is it for?" And then, like, they need to get the kids out of the house. Like, they need to exfiltrate the kids. They're like, "One of our clients canceled a motel reservation. We're going to take
vacation."
And it is just like a fine motel. It's like so unremarkable. And then there's nothing for them to do once they get up there. And there's the scene of, like, Henry's twirling around flying a kite, but the rest of the family's just, like, sitting sadly on a bench.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to do. What was this vacation
reading a
for?
book, and I was like, man, your back must hurt. Like,
right. I'm curious, like, was the travel agency set up by the KGB, or did Philip and Elizabeth, under their cover stories, did they start that themselves? How invested are they in the travel business?
It feels like a good cover, though, to be able, like, I then have to go away for 2 days or something. I have a business meeting.
The travel agency is always a cover for something else happening. It's never one of the stakes. It is a cover for another stake that's happening. It's not a stake in and of itself. And I wonder if it ever will get there. Like, maybe they genuinely do, for their cover story as travel agents, they're like, we have to go to this conference. Like, we have to get, like, keep up our accreditation or something like that. And something spycraft is getting in the way of the travel agency. And they're like, but we have to keep the travel agency going to stay legitimate.
A buyout.
Like, one of us, like, is there ever a situation where, for any reason, they have to prioritize the travel agency? What would that situation be? There's, like, one guy there. They've got other employees who you see outside the little office window.
I just thought of something.
There's one guy who has a couple lines. And I'm like, are we going to get to know that guy? I'd like the travel agency, if it's here, to be serve a little more purpose beyond a cover story. I'm really interested in travel agency based storylines.
Do you know about the Pentagon pizza tracker? Have you heard of that?
Oh, yes. When
it cropped up more recently.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a couple pizza joints that when something is happening at the Pentagon and everyone has to stay late, these specific pizza joints like get a lot of business. And so like people have started to pay attention to when these pizza places are getting more business than usual.
Yeah.
And thinking like, okay, either an announcement tonight or tomorrow, something is going to happen, right? And so I'm wondering, like, my job when I have to travel for work, we work with a travel agency. What if their agency can strike some kind of deal with a government institution like the FBI, and that way they can keep track of wherever agent Stan Beeman is off to next, right? And you know, him and his coworkers and other agents, like that could be a really interesting thing where they actually have to do work at the travel agency to figure out what is happening.
Yes. Yeah, it's not just a cover story. The travel agency is now part of the spycraft.
Yeah. So who knows if that will happen down the road? I don't know, but I just thought that would be neat. You're like, oh,
I'd like it. I'm like, if it's here, if the ingredient is here, let it shine. Let's really put these things to work. I want to see every element of this put to work. It looks like the Jennings live in like a villa, like a split like duplex. That doesn't look like it's a single family home.
Oh, interesting.
Like the way the building is structured, it's got like a symmetry to it, and they only come out of one door. I think there must be another family that, if they don't literally live on the other side, there theoretically could be a family that moves in on the other side. Maybe I'm reading this wrong.
Because I just never really paid attention to it that much.
You don't see it all. There aren't that many establishing shots. But it is curious that that's what would be picked for the establishing shot.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. I don't know, man. Lots of actors in here that I recognize from smaller other stuff.
Yeah,
some good TV actors and things like that. So I'm enjoying that aspect, at least, to being like, oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's her. Right?
Yeah,
hey.
Right. We get a little John Carroll Lynch. You always want more John Carroll Lynch.
I think the
it's
funniest
fun.
One that I saw, I hope you recognized her as well.
Yes.
Their handler, after they get rid of the older woman, the younger redhead.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
From God, what's that? For All
Mankind.
Yeah, it's her, and which she gets flipped into a Russian agent in that one, and here she is, full Russian agent.
Yep. It's funny how history repeats itself.
Yeah.
Kyle, twice in this year on the review show, we have watched a scene where a Russian man eats an American fast food cheeseburger and then gets shot in the head.
We sure have. Yep.
This incredibly specific thing has happened to us twice this year.
Is this some like Russian American spy history thing that we don't know about? Like, is
this real? Was this a common tactic? Distract the man with a quarter pounder when you assassinate him.
Ooh, Big Mac. Oh man, yeah. I'm having a good time. I think things are heating up. So I'm really excited to see where the show goes down the road. I think there's enough ambiguity though in because like we have some historical events where they're kind of like landmarks of like, okay, it's set in this time period. You always see the picture of Reagan up there, right? But some of the stuff that's even happening with the Residentura, that's what it's called, right? And like because they're not the embassy, is that right, or is that just what they call the embassy? I'm not clear.
I think they are what we would call an embassy.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if that was also like a secret government building on the United States soil that right. Not sure.
I think it is an embassy as we would understand an embassy, but it is also this additional layer of undercover work.
I gotcha. But like there's certain stuff that's just happening politically with them because of what's happening for the plot of the main show that can kind of go in any direction that it wants, because it's not tied to a specific historical event or stuff like that. We might get some ripple effects of, you know, what's happening with some history, but yeah, that is an interesting aspect for me, is that like there's some political stuff happening that is just kind of vague, and like we don't know where it will go exactly, what will happen. So yeah, I'm excited to see where the show goes down the road.
Yeah, and there's always an us or a them. There's an American side or a Russian side. It would be I'd be curious to see what if these characters have to interact with a completely other third party that has really nothing to do with anything. Like we had to get.
Please.
There's one mission of the week where they have to like they bump up against like a mafia operation. Like this isn't one of the sides we're used to. We don't know how to deal with this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we there kind of was that when they're getting the Mossad agent out, right? I don't remember what exactly what flag he flew, but there was that other agent that they ran into and was just like, well, shit. Now what do we do with you? It's like, can we make a trade? Like, can we like trade?
Yeah.
Or just to like, let's not do any conflict with that. But it was a precarious situation, right? I totally forgot what I was just about to say. I don't know. Oh, I was going to say, or if there was some kind of way for them to get more like contemporary politics in that time period, right? Because like obviously they are fighting Russian communism, but a lot more people nowadays feel like, oh well, hey, democratic socialism, it might be a very like good thing for the country here. So like, is there a distinction between like you're American and you're socialist, but you're not communist, right? You still want to be American. Or something like that. Can they muddy the waters a little bit of like, it's like I'm American and therefore I'm Republican, and it's like, well, maybe not. You don't have to be a Republican. So I don't know.
They do bump up against a lot of real world historical like political things. A lot of shows set in the 80s will do this sort of winky, we're from the future and we know how this really played out joke. And the show's really only done one of those, which is when Henry's like, I don't know if this new Star Trek movie is going to be any good, but it's got Khan in it, and Khan was great on the show, so maybe it'll be better than the first Star Trek movie. Like, they just do it once, and I think they do it pretty well. And I like that amidst all this drama going on, like, after he got over the whole Intellivision incident, Henry's mostly just like, I've just been thinking about Star Trek.
Just been thinking about Khan.
He's right. Just thinking about Khan over here. Here's all my Khan thoughts, and the rest of his family is like buried in completely other, more dramatic nonsense.
Yeah, he's more on the like Stranger Things D&D side of it.
I know.
I'm just gonna do my own thing over here.
Right, which is funny to have like one Stranger Things kid just like let loose in this world who's like, you guys think about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe very much. I have.
I hope we get a scene like that where he's like taking his dad to like a Comic-Con or something and like has to explain who He-Man is and all that stuff. Oh, these are the Thundercats, Dad.
Come on, Dad. Thundercats and gummy bears are different.
Why can't you just like Gumby like I did when I was a kid? Yeah, dumb stuff like that. I think that's fun.
Speaking of dumb pop culture references.
Yes, please.
This show includes a reference to something that I have been obsessed with for like 15 years, and I've never heard another person reference, which is the June Ree self-defense commercial. I'm like
Now,
6. Yes.
You sent this to me. This is something I've never seen before. This YouTube video looks ancient. It looks like it was recorded off of a VCR.
Yes.
Man, like it's so blurry. It's a great commercial.
So I'm like 16 years old. I am on my first ever Dell laptop, and I remember finding some listicle in the style of Cracked, but not on Cracked, about the 10 greatest so bad they're good local TV commercials from across America. And one of them was this commercial for a martial arts studio with just people doing martial arts in like a dark void just against a black background, and this little song that goes, when you take June Ree's self-defense, then you too can say, nobody bothers me. Nobody bothers me. Call USA 1000. June Ree means might for right. And then these little kids pop up and say, nobody bothers me. Nobody bothers me either. And then that kid winks.
Yeah.
I love this thing. This is so funny to me. And I've never seen anybody reference it. But there's a scene when Martha and Clark are in bed watching TV, and that commercial is on TV. And Martha uses it as a jumping off point to say, you know what bothers me, Clark, is that I don't see enough of you. I looked it up.
It's like an old school, like, you know what really grinds my gears?
I looked it up. This is a commercial from that area, from the Virginia, D.C. area that was popular, or at least was airing in the late 70s and early 80s. It is absolutely of the setting and time period.
There you go.
I was so shocked and delighted to see it. And then I watched the commercial again. Not that I don't have it memorized. It's the kids, the use of the kids in the commercial. Like, so I'm part of this. I've learned nobody bothers me. That feels like it's foreshadowing for what is going to happen to Paige and Henry.
Sure. Yeah. Or they'll like get put in some Taekwondo class to at least give them some, some self-defense.
No, but like this thing that there's this practice for adults that the kids are going to be let in on, and the kids are like, it works. Nobody bothers me. I'm a threat now too, which is making the June Ree commercial sound very dark. I know it isn't. I bet those kids enjoyed a healthy form of exercise.
USA 1000.
Right. I hope that there was a commercial for the Americans that was cut exactly like the June Ree commercial. Like, when you take the American self-defense, and it's just footage of Matthew Reese and Kerry Russell fighting. And then at the end, it's Paige and Henry's faces and little pop-up bubbles. Nobody bothers me.
To speak of that like time period too, the last thing I want to say is that even though this is set in the like early 80s, this show does it on one hand, I want to say good job, but also I don't know if that's necessarily what they're going for. I consistently forget that it's set in that time period until I see a picture of Ronald Reagan hung up on the wall, right? It oddly feels very modern in a lot, especially in like the suburbia area that they live in. Obviously, the cars are still pretty 80s, right? But like, I don't know, like they're not like, oh, this is an 80s show. Look how Paige is dressing with her headbands and sweatbands and all that stuff.
It is a lot more muted, more grounded, more natural. It's not going full Stranger
like
Things
pop
on you.
Culture 80s, right? Yeah. It's just very mundane suburban life.
Yep.
So I forget that it's often set in the 80s.
If government offices did not have a picture of the president on the walls, we would never know when we are in a movie.
Yeah,
they would have to put in a chyron to tell us.
You could tell me that was set in the 90s, and I'd be like, all right, sure, that makes sense. But yeah. And then this is, so we've run into a show in the past where it's like, oh, I grew up there. I know.
What are your Virginia thoughts?
Virginia in Hannibal, even though they don't show Wolf Trap, the like concert venue that's out there. But yeah, I grew up in Northern Virginia, like right there in this area. Even some of the places like in Maryland that they go to, I'm like, oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so like when you hear like Arlington or Leesburg or Fairfax or stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, that's where I lived. I did not hear a June Ree commercial, but yeah, that's where I lived.
They were gone by your time, unfortunately.
Yeah, or they changed their commercial or who knows what, but I don't know.
The Beemans used to live in St. Louis, and they don't anymore. And we never see St. Louis, and they don't mention a specific thing they did there. So no, I don't get to have any fun there.
Who knows? Maybe they'll take a family vacation, and they run into the Russian spies out in St. Louis that are out there. Yeah.
Chase down the nasty cobblestone streets of Laclede's Landing. Jennings take a family vacation to Silver Dollar City outside Branson, Missouri. Hopefully there'll be something I can point at and say, that's me too.
Right. Yeah. Well, good stuff. I don't really have anything else to say here on seasons 1 and 2. I know we kind of brushed over like the exact plot details of what's happening here in season 1 and 2, but it did, to me at least, feel like they were setting things up, letting you get time with the characters to really know them, to really care about them. And so as it continues to build on, I feel like some of the political implications or the obstacles that they have to go over might strike a bigger chord with us to be like, oh man, the plot in season 4, wow, right? But who knows? So we shall see. That was good. That was fun. Now, Melissa, the way we used to do things when we did our like month by month stuff was like do recommendations at the start and recommendations at the end. The last time we cover it, I feel like we could do our bingo every time.
Yeah, bingo every time.
Check in.
Bingo every time. We'll just say recommendations as we have them. I hold on to them.
Sure, yeah.
I do have a lot. Let me
pull up our bingo card so we can at least check in here and see what's happening. Okie dokie. No time travel in this one. No, it's a sign. No flip phones yet for me. We haven't gone to Times Square, though that's maybe not out of the question.
Sure. I would give you, we certainly had a kitchen fight at one point. We had a pretty good bathroom fight, which you know is my personal favorite type of fight.
Yeah, we did have some like go through the back of the restaurant, stuff like that. I think we did, or at least there was the like not even safe house, but the house they do keep that other agent in.
Yes,
is like a rundown restaurant looking thing.
Yeah.
So there's some.
I think there's the part where the other KGB agents, I think, kidnap Elizabeth from the kitchen. I'd give you, I should be able to see that penis.
I would veto that, actually. Because
I think they do a great job of like framing all of the sex scenes in a way that's
doesn't show anything. Yeah, right. Feels exactly what cable TV of the era should feel like. I just cumulatively, from the amount of time where there is a sex scene, I should have seen something by now, right?
It's a series finale.
Yeah, I don't
Show
know.
hog on series finale.
And now I am American. And you just see full frontal. No, because like the spirit behind that was the more on the jokey side of like, oh, they are what you should be able to see Austin Powers' penis.
Yep.
But there happens to be a house plant right in there, and then as he walks off, something else like crosses the screen. And we don't quite have that. We have characters
we're not
who've
exactly
gotten
there.
up out of bed and we see their butt.
We have had a lot of boy, that's a conveniently placed sheet. We have a lot of I should be able to see those tits. That is mostly what this show is.
Yeah.
Convenient sheets that somehow just like stick up here.
Sometimes in Hollywood, I feel like they go so overboard with the sheets tucked around each actor so that they're not like actually touching each other, right? So like it feels like almost like a sock where it like they could each like slip into a little bit like a sleeping bag, like a double sleeping bag, but it's individual.
I feel like we will get to they're gonna run out of tricks, and there's like a sex scene, at least one every episode. They can only get so creative with the framing. Eventually we are gonna get it. Come on, where is it? It's gotta be there. Where you haven't crossed it off now, but you will cross it off later, I'm sure.
Yeah, or even like I think the closest we almost got is there is a time when Elizabeth was on the bed face down naked. And like you get a great view of her butt, but it's just like,
oh yeah,
you're like it's just the ever so perfect angle that I can't see anything else where I maybe should be able to, but anyways, I'll hold off on that one.
This feels like a show that will eventually have Shea Wiggum on it. I've been praying to see him all year. That's a square I have to cross off. The appearance of character actor Shea Wiggum. We're not there yet.
How about an answering machine? Have we gotten an answering machine yet?
I don't know if we have. There's lots of phone calls.
I feel like if we haven't gotten one yet, we're going to get one at some point. Like, again, like parents will be working late. They'll have left a message for the kids. Like, hey, there's $20 on the counter for pizza. Right? Like,
I think we're close, but have not had tricking a concierge or a valet. Framed for murder. Was anybody framed for murder at any point?
What happens with the girl that or the guy that Martha was seeing? Did they frame someone for that?
Oh,
or I don't remember his name again. The black guy that was helping.
them Gregory. Out. Oh yeah. Oh,
I loved him.
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
I liked him a lot. Yeah, I loved his apartment with all his paintings. That was a cool set.
He's taking the fall for something, but like, wanted to go out in a blaze of glory. But like, I don't remember if it was specifically like you've been framed for murder. I don't think we've got a specific like.
Yeah,
you've been.
We
framed
have somebody
for murder.
Being like, where you're certain somebody has done something, but they were not actively framed. It's just like, well, who else could it be but you? Not like, I'm rubbing my hands together, I will make it look like this person did this thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there, indeed. And yeah, with them working a travel agency, right? You have Vegas, baby, on your thing.
I'd love a Vegas episode. That sounds so fun.
I have Times Square on mine, so who knows? We might get to go outside of the DMV area. See all of that stuff, but who knows? I guess that is our bingo check-in for this time. Did you have recommendations that you wanted to shout out?
I do. I have
right
a lot.
Now? Okay, go for it.
We love spies here on the review show. Here are past episodes on spy topics. On episode 39, we watched all of the Mission Impossible movies that were out at that time, which was the first 6. On episode 148, we watched all of the Daniel Craig James Bond movies that were out at that time, which was 4. On episode 308, just earlier this year, we watched the whole Jason Bourne franchise.
Mm-hmm.
On episode 291, we watched season 1 of Slow Horses. And not one you typically think of, but technically still part of the spy genre. On episode 299, we watched The Prisoner.
Yeah, The Prisoner.
The weird old British cult TV series, The Prisoner. For more Cold War tensions, on episode 141, we watched The Queen's Gambit. And on episode 310, we started our coverage of For All Mankind. Mm-hmm. We watched that earlier this year. That also includes Rin Schmidt here. Instead of playing a low-level KGB handler, she plays the eventual head of NASA and has a romance with the Russian head of their equivalent of NASA. Truly, literally star-crossed lovers. On episode 142, we started our coverage of Halt and Catch Fire. If you want another 80s period piece about people who are married to their jobs. On episode 202, we started our coverage of Fringe. I bring Fringe up because it's another, I think, well-paced show, a show that takes its time with certain things, and has a really good romance at the core of it. And I think I brought up Fringe because that's a show where character development and plot development happen at the same time. Those are the same conversations. Everything is so intertwined in those characters' lives. There's not a mythology episode and then a romance episode. It's the same thing.
Mythological romance.
No, mythology in the way like my next recommendation is The X-Files, and that was a show that's like, time for a mythology episode, time to learn about the grand conspiracy.
Time to
it's
learn
one
some
of
lore.
them.
Yeah.
It's on or it's off. On episode 317, we watched the X-Files movie, Fight the Future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big X-Files fan. I love a investigative partnership. And I think that lends itself to the Americans, even though this is different. It's married spies. Speaking of married spies, now I'm into my recommendations that are not things we've covered on the show before. The new Mr. and Mrs. Smith series on Prime, starring Donald Glover and Maya Erskine. Those are characters in the same situation. We are agents. We are assigned to be married to each other and to live as a married couple. And as time goes on, we realize we may be falling in love organically on our own. Great show. So slick, so sexy, so many fun guest stars. Speaking of slick and sexy, Black Bag from earlier this year, starring Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, and one of the many Steven Soderbergh films from recent times. Mm-hmm. I love this one. This is the only 2025 movie that I've already rewatched because I liked it so much. Yeah. And it's 90 minutes long. After I saw Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. That was not at all what I thought it was going to be. I kind of need to calm down. I watched Black Bag because I knew it would hit.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
The actor who plays Jared, the boy they have to exfiltrate from the other spy family. I know him. We've seen him on the show before. In the movie X, he's the director of the pornographic film who wants it to be an actual art film.
Gotcha.
He's that guy. He's also in a movie called Super Dark Times. A very small indie sort of horror thriller movie. Shot beautifully. This is one of the most aesthetically pleasing. Just it's in like Michigan or Minnesota. It's in this foresty area. It's in the fall. The foliage, the fog. This thing just like nails a seasonal vibe so wonderfully.
Cool.
This Super Dark Times is a movie about these teenagers who are just goofing around with their friends and accidentally kill somebody and then try to cover it up. And then it's about how that just rots their minds with guilt. It is Super Dark Times. The movie is that. It's a weird movie. It doesn't really work on everybody. I don't know if I'd watch it again, but it is interesting enough to be worth mentioning and worth watching at least once.
Sure.
Super Dark Times. If I don't mention it, who will?
Not me, because I haven't seen it.
You might like it. It's shot really well. I at least start watching it. It's such a fall movie. So autumnal. Now is the time.
Okay.
You have from September through November to watch Super Dark Times. That's when it applies.
Indeed, especially as the days get shorter.
Mm-hmm.
For my recommendations, way back on episode 3 of the review show, I covered a comic book called Velvet. This is a spy thriller that is... kind of takes the idea of like, what if Moneypenny or from James Bond, is that the right one? I'm not sure.
Yes.
What if Moneypenny was also a spy and is actually like used to be the James Bond character, and something pulls her out of retirement and she has to go back into the game. I really enjoyed that one a lot. And then... let's see, I'm going to put this one in there. On episode 147, we discussed Tom King and Gabriel Hernandez Walta's The Vision.
Good
which
one.
Is just kind of about a family just kind of trying to fit in and be normal humans, even though they are not normal humans. It's about their teenagers trying to fit in, the family dynamic, and the like secrets and stuff that tear them apart. So I think that's also a great one. A book I have read that we've not covered here on the podcast is Queen and Country by Greg Rucka. If you like a more modern day spy comic, this is a great one. I would highly recommend it. There's a handful. There's like 4 of the like deluxe edition volumes out there that you can get, and then there's a handful of novels that spin out of it. If you're more into reading an actual book, you can pick up those novels as well. Queen and Country by Greg Rucka. So yeah, those I think would be my recommendations for right now. So good stuff. But yeah, I think that then might wrap us up and bring us to a close for these first 2 seasons of The Americans. We will be back in about 2 weeks for season 3. And yeah, I'm excited to keep diving further in this show here. Melissa, let's wrap things up right there. Where can the people find you on the internet?
Email me the old-fashioned way, as if you would when there was only ever an ARPANET, at yourhostmelissa@gmail.com.
You can also reach her by leaving a chalk mark out on the sidewalk by the trash can on 34th Street.
I'll know what it means.
Right. Yeah.
I'll show up in my best wig.
Exactly. If you guys want to get in contact with me, I am at Yo Kyle Springer on most of the places. And if you'd like to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at thewhatnauts.com on Blue Sky. So please go like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, go check out more of our videos over there on that side of the screen. That would also help us out a ton. So yeah, please go do all of that stuff. This has been number 326 of the Whatnauts Review Show. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.